FC to come onto stage and sign the contract. But just as they come, let's just watch the AV and then we'll call them. Okay.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Forgiven, the Kings of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah.
All right, so let's invite, there's been a slight change. We've got Stefan Hildebrand, who is Director Youth Development, to come up on stage for our Stuttgart to sign this contract with Anuj Gupta.
Let's please invite Mr. Anuj Gupta on stage and Mr. Martin Rath of Apertura Sports and Mr. Barandas and Mr. Rouven Kasper. Requesting all three of you gentlemen to please come on stage for this contract signing.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a significant step in this Indo-German collaboration to have a Delhi-based football club signing this partnership agreement with VfB Stuttgart. Absolutely. Here, here. Here, here.
And India playing the World Cup in 2030 as well.
Congratulations to both Mr. Gupta as well as to Rouven and Stefan. We can tell you TV9 Network takes football very seriously. We are in fact the only media network in India that's showing Bundesliga matches, be it the women's matches or the men's games. And this is hopefully this is going to be a meaningful partnership.
Okay. Can we have
like
handle mics, please?
To say something on
stage?
this?
Before we, sir, would
this
you like to say something on?
Yes.
Okay.
Those.
Second.
Of course.
Can we have
Mr. Gupta.
Mr. Gupta?
We didn't plan to say anything because we just wanted to make everything fix and sign. But Anuj and me, we know each other for 2 years now. No, even longer. We were already discussing when I was working for this other football club in the south. So you sometimes collaborations need more time, but when the right people are in a place, at one point you make it fix. And we were looking in India for a football club who is focusing on youth development. Not about the image, not about the marketing, about youth development and the real heart for kids and having a plan. And that's why we, together with Anuj, defined a collaboration for the next years. You can tell a little bit more what you are doing there. And I think we invite everybody because it's grassroots. We want to come to as many kids as possible in India and develop them not just for football, also for the personality and for life. But I think there you are better. But I'm happy that we made it after 3 years or something like that, that we signed today. Thanks for your trust and we will make the best out of it.
Thanks a lot. Firstly, thank you all that, it's 6 o'clock and you guys are, I can see it's completely jam-packed and in regards to this collaboration, Rouven and I, we've been speaking about this for many years. But as I always say that, when the time is right, things will happen. So in India also, I believe football, we need to give more time and we need to be patient to take India to a stage where internationally we would be also known as a football playing nation. So this kind of a collaboration would definitely help, particularly the youth players in India, in Sudeva, to get opportunity to be trained in Germany, in Stuttgart, and hopefully we will be able to produce the first professional player playing for Stuttgart, hopefully, in times to come. And I feel that as every sport needs a poster boy, yes, in India we have a couple of poster boys, but yeah, at an international level, we still lack that poster boy. And with such collaboration, the idea is that if we can produce top youth player from India, we can maybe, that player could be the one who could actually inspire not hundreds, not thousands, not lakhs, but millions of grassroots players to get into the sport and not look at the performance of the senior national team. We have to see the performance at a youth level. So if we can improve the performance of internationally at a youth level, I think in a longer run, India has a great future. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Requesting all to please, so that we can move on with the next session, for which, of course, we have my colleague Meha Bhardwaj for that.
Yes.
Gentlemen and ladies, football is one of the fastest growing sports in India. The audience has grown to over 300 million, which is a 45% share of the sports audience of India. It's one of the top 3 sports in the country, isn't it, Neha?
That's right. Our next playoff is India as a footballing nation, a German template. How can India take inspiration from Germany's footballing journey to become not just a football-loving country, but also achieve international success? Take a look at this, and then I'll invite all our panelists.
Football is rising in India.
A nation cheering from the stands.
Can we bring this passion to the field?
In Germany, football isn't just played, it's built.
Structured from the roots, crafted with precision.
A system designed to create champions.
Imagine this blueprint brought to India.
Investing in talent early.
Building infrastructure that inspires.
1 billion dreams united on the field.
Fostering community pride. building national spirit.
Germany's experience, India's ambition.
The media, private sector, government, all rising together.
To build a footballing nation.
The playoff begins.
Yes, let's invite our panelists for this session. Kai Dammholz, Director Media Rights, DFB. There is Anuj Gupta, co-founder, Sudeva, Delhi FC. Rouven Kasper, Chief Marketing and Sales Officer, VfB Stuttgart. Naubert, CMO, Bundesliga. And this is the last playoff of the day.
And there's going to be some multitasking clearly. Beha Bharadwaj is going to be a match referee along with our very own Kaushik Maulik. And requesting all of you to take the stage. And just after this session, ladies and gentlemen, we have a once-in-a-lifetime cultural Indian performance that's just building up for you guys. So make sure you don't move anywhere after the session is over. We'll be back with it.
All right. Politics, business, it's all been done. It's time for sports. And you can see with with a full house here, we all love sports. India loves cricket and we know Germany loves football. But we're talking about India as a footballing nation. I was reading a report yesterday on the growth of sports in India. And one of the things that stood out was how much Indians are loving football at the moment. When it comes to viewership, youth wants to play football. So this is really a pivotal moment, where we discuss football and make sure that the potential that India has, how that can be transformed into international success. I have 4 gentlemen sitting here who have rich experience in football administration, India and in Germany. So what better panel than this?
Yeah,
Kaushik Maulik, I think most of the Germans here know him. So we'll hopefully get out some meaningful conversation out of this. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's start then. I'm going to begin with India's future as a footballing nation, and I want to get Rouven to come into this one. Of course, if Germany and India can collaborate in so many different ways, that's one big step, because you know how to do football right, and you can definitely help us. What do you think is the biggest thing that a country like India needs at the moment? Because there's potential, but how can that be transformed into international success? What is that one thing you think India needs, Rouven?
I think you need 2 things. You need to believe that you want to develop football, and you need the right people. I can give you an example from my former time living and working in China, because China in 2016 closed an exclusive collaboration with the German government to build up football infrastructure, to elevate society. In these days it was very, very focused on tourism, on culture, on sports. And we tried to build up infrastructure, to bring in our resources, let's say our software of football, to the coaches, to the referees, to the kids. And at the beginning it started quite good, but as fast as China is in manufacturing, in engineering, in the digital world, football is something else. Football is not a material. Football are people. And it did not develop that fast that the trust was not there anymore. And then they shifted from the German concept, from DFB and from clubs like in these days Bayern Munich, it shifted to the French colleagues because they were world champions. And 4 years later, it was an Argentina concept. So they changed from right to left, and it was not a sustainable way. It was not a belief into a concept. It is never a German concept who will bring the Indian national team to the World Cup again. It's a localized concept. It's an Indian concept. But as always, you need some expertise from outside to make it even stronger. And I think this is what you need. You need to believe in one collaboration, like we today from Delhi to Stuttgart announced, but it needs to be bigger. That's why the 2 gentlemen are also sitting to my left. Yeah. And a belief into the right concept, and then a sustainable way, because one generation of football players need roughly 8 years So 8 years you need to give a collaboration, and then you can summarize it if it's successful or not successful. If you have the right people in the boat, as always, in the clubs, in the federations, in the media, then you can produce something. And that's something, these two things I would recommend.
Okay, Anuj. Now, India, when you look at the viewership, sports viewership, cricket, of course, has the largest share. But what we've been seeing in the recent times is that football has become huge, especially the Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga. Youth of India are watching that now. How much of that can be translated into kids coming into academies? Are they taking to playing football? Is that the one first sport that they want to play?
I think for any sport to excel, we need role models. And unfortunately in Indian football, the role models are limited to the performances they have achieved in India. But now, as you said, that Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, their viewership in India is huge. So now their role models are players playing in these clubs. Yeah. And for them to compare these leagues with the super leagues of India, it is also not right. So from that angle, I think inspirationally, now the youth look forward to football because they want to see themselves also play at a level where they can have a good living, and which Super League in India has achieved. Now so in total we have about 1,500 to 2,000 professional players who are earning over around 50,000 to 100,000, 50,000 euros a year, which is from a not from the population of India point of view, but from a sporting point of view, is not a bad number. Which was not the case maybe 8 years back. So yes, can it be a livelihood? Yes. But is it inspirational? I think it is not as inspirational right now. Why? Because role model is the problem. So with such tie-ups, whenever we go for such tie-ups, the belief is that can this tie-up identify and scout that player, that youth player who will actually be the next or the first possible future superstar. And the reason, if you are able to produce that superstar, that one player will ignite fire in millions of parents, because it is the parents who actually send their children. And if the parents start sending their children without the mindset that my child wants to become, I'm sending my child, why? Because I want him to become a professional player. No. I feel first is that the student has to become fitter. And from that angle, football has always been the number one sport. So in a nutshell, I feel that we need to produce one player who will play at the top level in Europe.
Anuj, I have just one question to you regarding football of your Sudeva and what your experience with the Delhi Soccer Association. You have a dual role here. Yes. So don't you think this next level of football for the 14 to 16, they're missing the pathway? What a pathway, you can talk about it.
Well, I think, we need to work from 4 years to 12 first, which we call as grassroots. And then we have to focus from 13 to 18. So if I say about developed football nations, by the time a player is reached 16 years, he's already played 500 matches. And an Indian player who reaches 15 years, and he could be the best player in India, playing for the top teams of the country, he would have not even played 100 matches till date. Which means that he has already lost 400 competitive matches compared to a player who's playing at a developed football nation. So that competitive match temperament can only be achieved if we are able to give them that many matches from the age of 6. Yes. So I always urge to all the corporates in India and globally who are investing in India that we need to focus a lot more on giving competition to children from the age of 5 till 15. So that will carve the roadmap. That will carve the ecosystem around it. Because that will help more coaches to build their acumen. There'll be more physios, everything will grow around the competition. So I believe that we always invest a lot of money at the top level to create inspiration to the youth, But I feel that the budget, the money has to be spent equally or I think more at a grassroots level. It might take 8 to 10 years, it might take one generation. But otherwise, we will never be able to get the best player which actually can become the top player at the age of 19.
Okay.
Yeah, which is exactly what Germany has done, Kai. Football culture is one thing. Being good at a particular sport is one thing, but sustained success, to be able to do it for so many years. Germany has won 4 World Cups. That's where a lot of other things need to fit in. Explain to us the German model of football and how that works. What is one of the best things about it that makes it so successful?
Well, thank you. Before I get to that point, please remind me if I forget the question. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. And I was listening to all the amazing sessions throughout the day, and I was like, oh, wow, we're touching upon all the big issues of modern civilization, agriculture, carbon emission, electric vehicles, digitalization, IT, AI, as I said, migration, armed conflicts, everything. I said, I was a bit humbled. What are we going to talk about when we talk about football? But then...
Kai, this is your best subject to talk about it.
But then, yes, that's the only reason I'm here. But I was a bit humbled. But then I thought again, yes, we're talking about all these incredible topics with so many smart people, educated people, successful people, powerful people in the room. But we're doing it at the football stadium. And we're doing it thanks to the Bundesliga and to VfB Stuttgart. And so football really unites, and football really builds the bridge. And I was thinking, we talked about this fantastic bridge cooperation between India and Germany. Sports, and in particular football, can be one of the columns of this powerful bridge. So we can learn from each other. We have experience, we have success in football, like this beautiful cooperation that was just announced. We can teach India about football, but India can teach so many things to us. You show your enthusiasm, your energy. Kaushik, I'm looking at you. It's really a win-win, as was mentioned before. So I think the German football, with its structure, with 25,000 clubs, everything centralized, controlled through the DFB, we can teach Indian football many things. Together we can grow.
My question to Per. And you have always mentioned the figures and that Bundesliga is doing great things. And of course, Bundesliga reaches to the remotest corner of India. I can mention the latest story from one girl from Dinsari village, 4,000 inhabitants. They played on literally in desert, and they achieved to be here. So don't you believe, you always believe that, 1.5 billion people, we don't have a talent? Do you believe it or not? And next question, India is figuratively, we are a clapping nations. To transforming to clapping nation to playing nations, what is your advice to be a playing nation?
So first and foremost, I can only follow Kai's nice words, saying thanks to all of you for joining us here. Thanks especially to Hernand and to Barun and Rouven for having us. I think it's an amazing event. It's been an incredible 24 hours so far. It's an unbelievable eclectic group of people having spoken here or being in the room. So it's a great experience. Coming to your first question, I assume that's more like a rhetoric question, and I can only say yes.
But I'm not leaving it down to only yes. And you always said the water is easy, but the composition of water is a little complicated. Yes have to justify what is the yes.
So I mean, if you just look at the sheer numbers, I think it would be kind of a miracle if out of 1.48 billion, there wouldn't be $1 million foot. It's just not possible from a numbers perspective. However, at the same time, and you were asking the question, how can we get there? What does it mean? And looking at, let's say, just the short video, it's sheerly amazing what you guys are doing. I think you need to build a kind of a football ecosystem, and this sounds like pretty simple, but it's pretty complex. If you look at the German ecosystem, and you were referring to that, it's not only about 25,000 clubs. It's much more about, I think, roughly 150,000 different teams. It's about 7 million people, so roughly 9% of the total German population are organized within the DFB. And this is what German football is about. This is what makes the German football successful. But we have to be very frank as well. There were tough times at German football as well, right? If you look back to the early 2000s, let's say there were some major tournaments where we might just forget, right? If you look at the squad which came in second in 2002, that was, let's say, from a football skill perspective, probably some group which wouldn't even qualify for a World Cup right now. Anyhow, so it's important to build this kind of ecosystem. It's about it's all about building grassroots. It's all about building structures and to exactly as Rouven said, to create or cultivate football culture in order to nurture and develop talent.
Rouven, can there be academies that Stuttgart, VfB Stuttgart, and India can collaborate on? Because one of the things that we see, and Anuj will agree with this, is that we need more academies. We need, of course, better coaching, better infrastructure. Is that something that can work with VfB Stuttgart?
That's exactly our plan. So Anuj already has some academies which we try to elevate from the playing style, from the coaching, from the whole ecosystem to the hopefully next level. But besides having the existing academies, the plan is for sure making it bigger. Because I think the last 2 days we heard about a very fast boost of ecosystem. I think that's also possible when the right people are not just together in one boat, also find the right people investing into football. And everybody knows the enthusiasm about sports in India. For sure, so far on cricket, or I don't know if it's the sport or it's the betting, I'm not so sure, but you know it better than I do. But really into both. Yeah, into football, I think then it can flourish heavily, because football is unstoppable. It's not like a drug or something. It's an easy game. Every kid can play with friends, can play with him or herself. And this is why the next generation is playing soccer. You cannot stop it. Also not in India and not in US. And therefore having the right solutions, it's also something the government needs to have a look for that. And also when it comes to a global positioning, global positioning is culture, it's business, but it's also sports. Yeah. Why is India applying for the Olympics in
2036?
2036.
Exactly. Because it's a global platform. It's a marketing platform at the end. And the same is a football World Cup. It's the sport #1 globally.
Yes.
And when you want to compete in the whole global infrastructure, then you need to also have somehow a football nation. And this is something which we try to support in the best way, but it needs to be a localized concept. So finding the right people, the right investors, want to invest into grassroots, and then making these systems localized better. This is something which we together can do, and this cannot only do Stuttgart. I wish I can do it, but I heard how many people you have in your country, so it's not possible. And therefore, Per, who has also a really strong expertise in international business, especially in Asia. We were traveling a few times already. Has also a few more clubs in his hand because he's representing the Bundesliga, and we all together would bring our weight into this game if the other side wants to have it. And then I think yes, you can build on something.
Now, just one question to Kai, because you're representing DFB in the whole of German football. And you know that we have, during our last 2 days, we talk about the Indians growing day by day, young Indians, next generation Indian in Germany. Do you think this the Indian who lives here and their kids are growing in the football culture and more infrastructure, facility, do you have some kind of a collaboration can be done with non-resident Indians who lives here? I have 3 panels, Per, Rouven and you two. Why not, can you have some collaboration from your side to our Indian kids, non-resident Indian kids who are playing in football, that they have a chance to grow more and more attracts to this game? Any thoughts about this question for three?
Well, maybe I kick off. I think it's a fantastic idea to touch the Indian diaspora, especially the Indians, German living in Germany now. But I think we should go further because we want to make soccer, football more popular in India. And our idea is like the session before was like we are fighting for talent. We are fighting for skilled immigration from India. I think we need to portray a beautiful image. So it's German cars, German beer, and German football, and makes us much more likable for them to come to us rather than Australia, Canada, or whatever they want to go. So I think it really could be our visiting card. Beautiful soccer. And one of our projects, which also I've been talking about it with you, Meher, at TV9, is we have our German FA Cup, the DFB Pokal, and we democratize it. We bring it to India free of charge for everyone. So that's one of the things that we can contribute. But of course, we have so many more grassroots level activities that we can work on. And last not least, what can we get back from this skilled Indian community is, for example, technology. We can use technology in football. We can, work on joint projects together, enhance the feeds, learn more about our customers, AI, prediction gaming. I mean, we're really eager to learn, to contribute, and also to take as a partner.
Rouven, on this take, because in Stuttgart is also.
I know that you're a commercially guy, and I think your idea with the training the Indians in Germany or in Europe, this could be a quick win. Which we already see, because right now we also, just half a year ago, we signed a Chinese player who grew up in Australia and is physically educated very well, and we trained him here for not that long, and he has a big potential. So he starts at another point. So this could be a quick win. But in general, you need to start creating enthusiasm and football culture and an infrastructure in India and not somewhere around. This could be something which helps to find this one player a little bit faster. But I think culturally, I don't know, but I think when a player comes from Mumbai or from Delhi and is trained there and comes from the suburbs somewhere, I think this is more authentic than somebody who grew up in Stuttgart and has an Indian passport. But it can also help to produce this enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm, so talent, talk about the role, what Anuj just talked about, the role model and cooperation together. Per, you have very experience of dealing Indian players, to be Indian aspirants to be here. And you have a wonderful story of Samarprit Singh, non-resident Indian who signed buy-in and playing in the Bundesliga, but is not from Indian origin. So this kind of story to promote the league and also give a role model to India, what's your thought and take on this?
So when we started the journey of marketing the Bundesliga internationally back in 2018, obviously India was one of the key and target markets. I think that's not a surprise. And if you look at the 1 billion Bundesliga fans today, internationally, we see that roughly 8%, 8.5% coming from India. That's also reflected in terms of the followers on our social media channels. And how did we get there? Pretty much, we were building our marketing strategy on two topics, on two subjects. The first one was football development, because India's in terms of football, it's still kind of a development country, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's much more about, let's say, looking at the international success. And we were trying to support and help all the football governing bodies, organizations in that market in order to set up their structures and the football ecosystem I was referring to earlier. So, for example, we have a partnership with the AIFF, we have a partnership with the FSDL, we have a partnership with the ISL, and in each and every subject we try to improve their structure, their business, their processes to nurture and develop talent. Something we set up and we launched pretty much 1.5 years ago is what we call the Bundesliga Dream. It's a project which we conduct in not only in India but in many other markets, where we get youth national teams to Germany and make them train here for 3 to 4 up to 6 weeks, and each week with another Bundesliga club. so that they can, train in their facilities, train also with their youth coaches, and at the end of this week, they usually play against the equivalent youth team, which really helps them not only to train on very professional infrastructure, but also to play against high-level youth teams, which helps a lot. And we had the U13, the U15, and the U17 national team here, together with our friends from the DFB, where we, help a lot, train those kids, and we saw dramatic increase in terms of the skill those kids had over those, very short stints, which helps a lot. And then in terms of, let's say, building our brand, in addition to the sports side, we also work together with, let's say, local influencers, local ambassadors. Kartik Ayan, one of the big Bollywood stars, probably I completely misspelled the name, but this guy was here several times in Germany and visiting different Bundesliga games, and he was completely blown away by the sheer, by the football culture. So he's working for us for free. I shouldn't probably say that for some brands here.
For football, it's a win of football.
Can you cut this out, please?
You can, all of you today's business summit, that all the investor or industries can think about football can bring the star with a better price.
Exactly. And obviously we do a lot of, our base layer marketing in terms of digital, social. We're working with platforms like Kellnow or Big Hit. But, this is, let's say, our general marketing program. We have closed ties with the government of Maharashtra because we want to, also go into the grassroots on a big scale and help kids enjoying football not only on a professional level or on an elite level, but also in terms of the amateur level to just increase the number of kids playing and enjoying football. And this helped us to be the fastest growing league of all European top leagues in India in terms of awareness, interest and consumption. So far I think that's been pretty interesting.
Okay, I've been asked to wrap this session, but before that, Anuj, I've got to ask you, as somebody who's running an academy, or football academy in Delhi, what are the challenges that you face every day? Because that will put into perspective where we are and how far we have to go.
Well, as I already said, that the biggest challenge in India is giving competition. So Sudeva is also a foundation. So when I started Sudeva around 9 years back, my idea was that after 3 years, I'll start asking for CSR to be used for developing players. So after 3 years, when I started asking money from corporates, majority of them, they said that their CSR is not into sports, is into education and healthcare and all that. The reason I'm saying about CSR is because if I talk about numbers, little number I want to tell, 2022-23, the CSR money spent on sport was about 30 million euros, and 23-24 it came to 60 million. So the whole country, only 60 million euros is spent on CSR sports. The total budget of India in sports is around 400 million euros for the whole country with all the disciplines. So what I am trying to say is that the biggest constraint is money. And the money which is spent, according to me, has to be spent on competition. So last year when I became the president of the Delhi Soccer Association, one thing which I did was I got corporates involved in giving money for giving competition to the children. So I started grassroots league starting from under 6, under 8, under 10, under 12. Then I started youth league from under 13, 15, 17, 19. In the last 2 seasons, I'm able to give the elite academies in Delhi around 25 to 27 matches per season. So according to me, in India and a developed nation, they will get about 40-45 matches a season, if I'm not wrong, around that. Maybe 50 matches also, for instance, in Germany. For us, the biggest hurdle is giving competition and creating an ecosystem which is working together. The state government is working separately. The State Football Association is working separately. The central government is working separately. So I think from a football point, everyone has to work together and use the funds for creating more competition, starting from the baby leagues and up to. So it has to start from bottom and it goes to the top. Yes, it will take 10 years.
Yeah.
But it has to start somewhere.
Well, I can say that TV9 network, where, of course, this is an initiative by us. We are trying in whatever little way possible to make sure that people in India fall in love with the beautiful game again. I'm completely out of time, but thank you so much, gentlemen, for this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was a fascinating session. Requesting all of you to settle down. Settle down. We have something very special lined up for you. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for the panelists and of course our match referees, Meha and Kaushik. It's been a fascinating day of discussions. In fact, that was the last playoff. We are going to be lining up something very, very important. As you can see, the stage is being set for a fantastic Indian cultural performance, something that you've never seen before, unlike any Indian cultural performance that you've seen before. As we get started for that, I want to get some few reactions from people over here. If I can come down and ask people over here, sir, can you tell me what is, as far as when you say Indian culture, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Music.
Music, clearly that's a very important part of our